fires it ignited, this is what Otsuchi used to be. A beautiful seaside town. Of its 15,000 citizens, 500 are now dead. When the seas rose 1 month ago, this wasn't the first tsunami here. There have been many before. Otsuchi had 6-meter-high tsunami walls, not high enough. 1,000 of Otsuchi's people are still missing. Among them are 20 of Sadahiro Kobayashi's family and friends. Still, he says he's going to rebuild his house exactly where it used to be.
I was born here. You see there, that's my family grave. My ancestors are buried here. My children will come back here. I have to live here.
In the past 400 years, this coast has seen 9 major tsunamis. You'd think Japan would have learnt from its history, but for hundreds of miles along this coastline, in every bay and in every cove, people have built another community. It's now like this. Erased. 3 million people affected by the tsunami, most of whom made their living from the sea. They now want to stay here and rebuild. This disaster will be the costliest in history. £200 billion of damage. It's as if the economy of Scotland had been wiped out. Otsuchi's deputy mayor survived by clinging to the roof of the town hall. He says the ocean was their life and people just don't want to move.
It may take 2 to 3 years to clear the debris, 10 years to see the beginnings of a new town. But people are determined. They want to live here, and they want to fish again.
But undaunted, Japan's fishing towns are planning to rise again. Right here, right by the sea. Daily Chromaticus, BBC News, Otsuchi.
Well, the scale of the devastation is, of course, overwhelming. The cleanup alone will take months, some say years. Tons of debris have to be removed for any thought of rebuilding. Ronenberg has been to the town of Kanaichi, where the population, many of them elderly, are struggling to come to terms with life after the tsunami.
Just a few short weeks had passed, barely enough time to even begin the clear-up. This was a railway station, and standing between the tracks, these are the platforms on either side, everything else gone. Now, the people from this town who survived are living in evacuation centres. It's particularly tough on the elderly, of course. Japan has one of the oldest populations in the world, and as it happens, this region, Tohoku, has the greatest proportion of pensioners of any part of the country. And life for them has been very difficult.
I lost my best friend. I'm very, very sad. After the earthquake, he went to clean up his house. He ran away from the first wave, but we don't know what happened to him after that. I think he went back, and another tsunami came.
When you are staying in the evacuation center all the time, people get on each other's nerves. We've all been together for a month now. It's almost like being a farm. I hope we get temporary housing soon.
These fishing ports, quite remote, were already in decline even before the earthquake and tsunami. Young people were leaving, finding better opportunities elsewhere. It's a trend the disaster can only accelerate. Left behind will be the elderly, towards the end of their lives, and unable to pick up and start again somewhere else.
Ronenberg reporting there. Well, the Japanese government has promised to rebuild homes, livelihoods, entire communities, but the cost will be huge. Most estimates put the final bill above $300 billion, and Japan already one of the most heavily indebted countries anywhere in the world. My colleague Rachel Harvey has been speaking to the man in charge with managing Japan's disaster response, the Chief Cabinet Secretary, Yukio Adano. Will Japan be able to fund the recovery?
We will never abandon our plan for reconstruction on the excuse of a lack of So we will definitely make sure we have the sources of funding necessary for the reconstruction.
絆や助け合いという精神を持って、そして、
We have rediscovered a spirit of bonding and mutual support. Japan has managed to successfully resurrect itself from the aftermath of World War II. And if we can build on the lessons from this devastating earthquake, we believe that we can go beyond reconstructing our country and seriously address the challenges that we and the world face in the 21st century.
This is the biggest disaster that Japan has faced for a generation, but your government was accused before March the 11th of being unpopular and weak. So how will you now provide the leadership necessary to pull the country through this?
地震と津波による直接の被害については
The tsunami and earthquake caused major damage.
なっておりますけれども、一方で
Many perished and still many are unaccounted for.
出していた絆
But on the other hand, this experience has allowed the Japanese once again to embrace our very important culture.
が運用されます。原発については
Concerning the nuclear power station accident, it is to be greatly regretted that this damage has been incurred after the tsunami hit the power station and the power supply was lost.
供給できな
And
い
there were no sufficient systems established in advance of this natural disaster to cope with such unprecedented events.
取り組まなければなりません。
But with the help of many people, we have been able to bring the situation to a point where it is, relatively speaking, stable. However, we do have to make further efforts to bring it fully under control. So the situation, I have to admit, is still somewhat bleak, and it is very difficult. However, we will have to muster all possible knowledge and wisdom to bring this situation under control.
できてきています。
You mentioned Fukushima, and the nuclear agency has acknowledged that it wasn't sufficiently prepared for what has happened. But the Japanese people train for earthquakes and tsunamis. You hold regular drills. So why was the nuclear industry not better prepared?
福島の原発について
In reference to the Fukushima power station, they were fully prepared for emergency situations based on the natural disaster data for the past 100 years or so. Of course, once we got everything under control, experts need to work out what has happened and do some soul searching.
500年
But people have said that a disaster on this scale is something that would only occur once every 500 to 1,000 years.
So given all that you're saying, how can you convince the Japanese people that nuclear power is safe?
すでに現に動いてい
The
る
nuclear power stations that are currently in operation have been instructed to upgrade their emergency response countermeasures for possible tsunamis in the future. For example, to deploy backup generators.
電源車の配備などその上で
Once the Fukushima Daiichi power station is brought under stable control, then we need to carry out thorough and full investigations of what has happened. And of course, we need to have a nationwide dialogue.
Well, we have a special page on the BBC website on the ongoing situation in Japan. There you'll find all the latest news and analysis, as well as interactive maps and reports from our correspondents on the ground. bbc.com/news. That's it from this edition of Asia Today. Don't forget, we'll have more coverage on impact at 1300 hours GMT. I'm back with The Hub here on BBC World News at 1600 hours GMT. But for now, from me, Peter Dobby, and everyone on the team here in London, thanks for watching.